Bismillah, walhamdulillah, wa salatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. We begin in the chapter that deals with the hair of the Prophet alayhi salatu wassalam. So there were many hadith describing the Prophet's hair alayhi salatu wassalam. Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, said, I used to perform the major ritual ablution and Allah's Prophet alayhi salatu wassalam together from a single basin, from a single bucket. And he had hair above the shoulder level and below the ear loops. Al-Bara ibn Azib, may Allah be pleased with him, and with his father, said that the Prophet of Allah alayhi salatu wasalam, was a medium height, broad shouldered, and the hair of his head touched the loops of his ears. Qatada said to Anas, may Allah be pleased with him, how was the hair of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam? He replied, it was neither crispy curled nor lank. His hair used to reach the loops of his ears. Hani bint Abi Talib, may Allah be pleased with her, she said that the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam arrived boldly at Mecca and he had 4 braids of hair. That when the Prophet ﷺ arrived to Mecca, he had 4 braids of hair. Anas, may Allah be pleased with him, said that the Prophet ﷺ, his hair was down to the middle of parts of his ears. Ibn Abbas radiyallahu anhuma, may Allah be pleased with him and with his father, he said that the Prophet ﷺ used to let his hair hang down over his face, whereas the polytheists used to part the hair of their heads. The people of the scripture also used to let the hair of their heads hang down, and he used to favor emulating the people of the scriptures with respect to things about which nothing was commanded. But the Prophet of Allah ﷺ then parted the hair of his head, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And finally, Hani said, I saw the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam with 4 braids of hair. Okay, this is 8 hadiths in this chapter. What do they all relate to? First of all, the length of the Prophet's hair. And we spoke about this, and we said that there is al-jummah and al-wafra. So the Prophet's hair alayhi salatu wasalam did not reach his shoulders, meaning it did not go beyond al-jummah, and al-wafra is to reach the earlobes, and it was more than the earlobes. So it was in between the earlobes and the shoulders, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And he had sometimes braided his hair, and this shows you how long it was. So braiding the hair, again, is not something that we should look down upon unless it is not recognized in the community. The Arabs at the time of the Prophet ﷺ used to do this frequently. Men used to braid their hairs. So there's no problem in doing it when everybody around you is doing it. But when you are in a community or a society which braiding the hair would be a bit feminist, in this case you have to refrain from that so that nobody would tarnish your reputation. But if you were among people who praise longing their hair, and men braid their hair as a sign of being macho and manly, then there is no problem in doing this because the Prophet did it, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But is it a sunnah? The answer is no. This is not part of the sunnah that you get closer to Allah. So we don't do it saying that, oh, the Prophet did it, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then we do it. No, this is part of the customs. Like the fact that the Prophet used to ride, as we will see inshallah in the future, he used to ride mules. So is it part of the sunnah for me to take a mule to work? Of course not. And if you do, then people would look down upon you and say there's something wrong in your head. You don't say, oh, the Prophet used to do this, you guys hate the sunnah. No, this is part of the customs. So you do what people acknowledge and accept, as long as there is no recommendation in terms of religion that the Prophet orders you to do it, like growing the beard. This is an obligation. This is part of the religion. It's not part of the customs, because the instruction is crystal clear in it. So you don't shave or shorten your beard because this is the norm and the people would not consider this normal. As for parting the hair, it's a fact that the Prophet ﷺ used to dislike anything that's imitating the idol worshippers and the disbelievers. But when we have the idol worshippers in one hand and the people of the scripture, the Jews and Christians, on one hand, the Prophet used to lean more over to the people of the scriptures against the idol worshippers. So this is a well-known fact. The people of the scriptures are closer to us than the Hindus, than the Sikh, than the Buddhists, because those are idol worshippers. We may be a bit inclined to the people of the scriptures, though all of them are disbelievers. In Mecca, there were no Jews and Christians. There were only, vast majority were idol worshippers. So the Prophet ﷺ used to let his hair down. Why? Because the idol worshippers used to split their hair, half to the right, half to the left, while the people of the scriptures used to let their hair down. So the Prophet ﷺ used to emulate them against the idol worshippers, the polytheists. When he went to Medina, the vast majority of the people were Christians and Jews. Idol worshippers were all in Mecca. So here, the Prophet ﷺ decided to split his hair into halves, one to the right, one to the left, to go against the Jews and the Christians, to show the identity of a Muslim. And this also highlights that a Muslim has to have his identity and has to show the people that he does not mimic or imitate the disbelievers in what is part of their religion and customs. Anything else that is commonly used, wearing a watch, using a computer, riding a car, this is commonly used among all the people of the planet. So there's no saying that, whoops, I should be riding a bicycle because the disbelievers ride cars. No, there's nothing as such. But what they're identified by, no one does it except them. We should have our own identity and not imitate them. And Allah Azza wa Jal knows best. Wa sallallahu wa sallam wa barak ala nabiyyina Muhammad.